to talk about sine and cosine in igcse. Initially, like sine and cosine are trigonometric functions that are defined based on ratios of sides in right triangles. They are fundamental functions in trigonometry and have various applications in mathematics, science, and other fields. So initially, like sine, the function of sine, like the definition is that in a right triangle, the sine of an angle like 0 is defined as the ratio of the length of the side opposite the angle to the length of the hypotenuse. The cosine function is like its definition is that in a right triangle, the cosine of an angle 0 is defined as the ratio of the length of the adjacent side to the length of the hypotenuse. So the property is like the cosine function is an even function, like the cos is going to be like always 0. It is also period with a period of 360 degrees. Also can be defined using the unit circle, like which extends their definition to any angle. Like initially this is sometimes to find a length, like a side of something, or sometimes can be used to find the angle of a right triangle, how I am saying. Also, like the sine of an angle is the y coordinate of a point, like on a circle, like it can be also function like in circles. But initially I'm going to focus in the triangles. So in igcse it can be put in the exams many different like topics. So there will be problems that will question like how to find the length or the angle using sine or cosine. You have to identify first that. So now I am going to present some exercise to exercise, one with sine and one with cosine, to find a length. Okay, so initially we have this is the sine. So how can we see here? This is the y. This is the length that we are going to find. We have other length that is 17 centimeters. We have 80 degrees of angle and 40 degrees of other angle. So initially we have to take into account that type of points there are going to be with calculator, because it's very difficult to obtain the cosine of something without using calculator. So in the igcse it is going to be always this type of points with calculator. So the only thing that you have to do is to make a formula that is using cosine, that is a exponent 2 equal to 5 exponent 2 plus a exponent 2, that is the sides, and then it passes to subtract, to you put 2 plus 5 plus 8, that is all. In this case that repeats, so it will be 2 times that formula, and finally it multiplies by the cosine of 82, that is the angle that is resting. So the only thing that you have to do finally is to put that in your calculator, and that will give, for example, in this case, a that is 77.86. So the length can be that type of thing. So this is one of the problems and the most common problem that will be appears of sine and cosine. And the only thing that you have to do is to remember the formulas, because there is the important, because it can be confused some in the initially, but if you remember that is the most important thing, you will pass like the type of thing. So this is one of the problems and the most common problem that will be appears of sine and cosine. And the only thing that you have to do is to remember the formulas, because there is the important, because it can be confused some in the initially, but if you remember that is the most important thing, you will pass like the points, and you will have extra points in the exam to be good and fine in the exam.